It's been a while, and far too long since this channel has seen some football. We're gonna do some Madden 24 content, and yes, I will be starting a new slow sim rebuild later this month. Before we get to that point, I first wanted to go through and finish the worst team rebuild I started back in September. The idea was that we would simulate a few years into the future and find out who the worst team in the NFL was. And then I'd give myself 5 years to build them into the best team I could, hoping to win a Super Bowl in that time. I know it's been a while, so I'm going to catch everybody up with the progress we had made after 2 years. We took over the 1-16 New Orleans Saints. They had already begun the rebuild process, but clearly hadn't made it very far if they only had one victory. There were a few young players on this team, but very few cornerstones to build around, and it was only getting tougher with players like Ryan Ramczyk retiring. They had a young quarterback I decided to stick with to start this rebuild. We'd see how Eli Rushing would play. And we actually took, with the number 1 selection, a wide receiver in Vaughn Bennett. That hasn't happened very many times in NFL history. Had to get more picks, though. We traded away Marshawn Lattimore and a second-round pick to get back in the first and find a player that would hopefully be a defensive cornerstone in corner Devin Turner. We ended up having a pretty good first draft. Vaughn Bennett had hidden development, and we also got a really good linebacker in the 3rd round. But with a star dev young quarterback, I wanted to find the receiver that could pair with him to start to get this offense headed in the right direction. We already had Chris Olave, who took Vaughn Bennett under his wing to mentor him a little bit. Felt like we had a pretty good starting point. Until the injuries showed up during the season, and Eli Rushing and Vaughn Bennett both missed some time. We dealt with injuries really throughout that first season, which didn't make it any easier to get some victories, and we dealt with bad morale and locker room turmoil. We ended up going just 4-13. I tried to spin it positively. We did have a 400% improvement to our win total after all, so try to look at this positively. We weren't the worst team in the NFL anymore. We were just in a big tie for second worst team. Vaughn Bennett did have 990 yards during his rookie year with 11 touchdowns to Chris Olave's 2. He had some really big games, but it was an inconsistent rookie season. We also had some really productive players at linebacker, but it was clear the pass rush was nowhere to be seen. Somehow we only collected 3 interceptions as a defense. At least Vaughn Bennett became Rookie of the Year, which in this game will automatically increase a player's development. We came very close to winning 2 Rookie of the Years, with Devin Turner coming in 2nd place. So after 1 year, 4 victories, a young superstar receiver in Vaughn Bennett, and Eli Rushing had improved. He had that star development, had 21 touchdowns, 10 picks in his 2nd NFL season. So we looked ahead to our 2nd offseason, still didn't have a lot of success in free agency. It can be very difficult to get free agents to come to your team when you're a bad team that players aren't interested in. So we again had to look to the NFL draft for the majority of our upgrades and tried to address that pass rush right away, taking normal development Steve Johnson. We then came back in the next selection and went with an interior player in Julius Griffith, thankfully getting that hidden dev rookie that you hope for. Not done in the trenches, we go to the offensive line, getting Zach Woody to be a replacement at center. He too had hidden development. This seemed to be a solid class, but it did hurt not getting a hidden development player at the 4th overall selection. With pass rushers, I don't think it's easy to predict who's actually going to produce right away. I know that if you do have production, though, you can earn those breakout opportunities and fix normal development. But it did seem like Julius Griffith might be the higher upside player. I really liked his ratings right away. And he's the one who had the training camp standout scenario, getting a boost before he even began playing games. Unfortunately, the injury bug affected us all over again, with Vaughn Bennett missing time in preseason going into week 1. We had more young talent than the year before. I felt like 2 drafts in, we were starting to form a bit of an identity on this team. And we did start the season strong with a victory over Atlanta, a division win 27-24, and that was without Vaughn Bennett and with Julius Griffith getting 2 TFLs and a sack in his debut, which continued his breakout. So we get a bunch of upgrades for him right away. He was a run stopper who showed good athleticism and pass rush upside. He was going to be the total package, and with this fast start, I was really excited to see what kind of a year he'd have in store. We surged out of the gates with a 3-0 start, getting our 4th victory against the New York Giants. It seemed like the rebuild had fallen into place in a rather short amount of time. Vaughn Bennett and Chris Olave were a dynamic pair, and it seemed Julius Griffith was going to run away with Defensive Rookie of the Year. We were gaining some serious momentum, knocking out scenarios, getting big XP rewards, and our fast start was quickly halted by a 3-game losing streak. We lost to the Falcons, the team we beat back in the opener, found ourselves at 5-4 mid-season taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Lost that game, also had lost to Tampa Bay, found ourselves in last place in the division. We began 4-0, now 6-7 in last place, with every other team at 8-5. We had to score late season victories, and did beat the Buffalo Bills 28-21, as Eli Rushing had maybe the best game of his young career. We actually put ourselves in a great position late. The entire division was 9-7. We got to face the 3-13 Bears. And of course we lost that game, allowing 287 yards. Eli Rushing had 3 interceptions. We choked away a chance to go to the postseason. 9-8, 4th place. That doesn't happen very often. If you look at our first 4 games and our last 4, we went 7-1. Our midseason was just that bad, and losing to the Vikings ultimately cost us a playoff spot as they won that tiebreaker. So, year 2 showed positive improvement, already going from 1 win to 4 and now 9. 30 touchdown passes on the year for Eli Rushing. Did not finish the season well. It seems now we have to find ourselves a ground game that can complement these 2 1,000-yard receivers that we have in Vaughn Bennett and Chris Olave. On the defensive side of things, we have some, big tackle numbers at linebacker. We increased our interception count by 2, but the pass rush is still a work in progress. Julius Griffith did not dominate throughout the year. He just had a very hot start and still outplayed number 4 overall pick Steve Johnson, who had 2 sacks, the same as his jersey number. Still, Julius Griffith was named Defensive Rookie of the Year. It feels like 2 years in, we're on our way. And we got 3 years left to try and get this team a title. Oh, and by the way, our hidden dev center ended up having Superstar, and Griffith got himself to Superstar. So let's continue our rebuild of the New Orleans Saints. I should probably also mention that Vaughn Bennett is now sitting at Superstar X Factor after 2 years in the NFL. He has a little over 2,000 career receiving yards and 26 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, we got 3 more upgrades here for Julius Griffith, so he should be on his way to maybe becoming our best defensive player before too long. And we're going to put 2 of these upgrades into power rushing. Hey, got the scheme fit back. That's pretty cool. Speed's going up. Okay. So Griffith now has 73 speed at 303 pounds. Seattle looks to be the new team to beat here in our franchise, as Desmond Ridder is their Super Bowl MVP. We do have pretty good coordinators on this team, and thankfully they haven't been hired away yet, but that could be coming. So our offensive coordinator helps out running backs a lot. He has halfback guru, 6 talents in that tree. I think this year I really want to find the running back that can help complete the offense, because our run game has struggled throughout. We're also going to spend some of our staff points here on the quarterback upgrading and save the rest to see where the team is later on. Sure is nice to be here rebuilding again on Madden, getting back to football content, and thank you all for staying patient, as it's really just been the least football content I have honestly ever posted. But I did want to finish this project and kind of ease back into the football stuff. And what I'm also going to do is going to be a one-day rebuild going back to Madden 06. And that's going to be after I finish up what we're doing here with the Saints. I really wanted to go back and revisit a lot of older games and just try to do some, fun short rebuilds and go throughout the years and see all the different mechanics in the games and also just have some fun with those old rosters. Today, though, we're on to year 3 with the Saints. Let's see what we got for free agency. So, cap space is not going to be an issue, but getting Olave interested in signing could be. This is where we're going to probably have to break out the franchise tag. Can't imagine there's anybody more I'd rather use this on. Oh, our quarterback. This is a 5th-year option. We still have a year left to get him interested in signing if we want to stick with him. And honestly, I don't know that we're better off picking up this option. I can probably sign him if we can get that interest up. Let's just see what his motivations are. He wants a big market. Apparently, New Orleans is a very small market. And nothing else is positive enough, so keeping him around without the tag is going to be a challenge. Steven Hearns at 25 years old, why would I sign you to a 2-year contract? I want to go 4 years. We'll go up to $38 million. That's done. This has become a really big challenge, though, over the past couple of years doing these rebuilds, is with, no interest, it's tough to get players to want to come back. So I think I'll just pick up this option here on Eli Rushing. That would take us through year 4 of this 5-year rebuild. And if it doesn't work out, we have the option of trading him or something. But just too much can go wrong if we don't. And nobody else is interested enough to even try to bring back, really. So we're going to move on. All right, so looking a bit deeper at this roster, I feel like the offensive line is in really good shape. I'm okay having maybe one player in that lower 70 overall range. We have playmakers at receiver, at tight end, but this running game, if you've played Madden for really the entire PS4 era up until the present day, it's been tough to do these rebuilds and simulate success with lower rated running backs. It's just a huge challenge. Like signing just a good veteran in the 80s somewhere, like a James Conner. That's more desirable than taking a second-round running back with normal development. We still desperately need edge rush, and Griffith got knocked down to star development. That is super annoying. He just got up there, but the game likes to rebalance things. I'm going to give it back to him, considering that was for Rookie of the Year. If it were just for performance, I'd let it be, but that's for Rookie of the Year. That's meant to be the big award for getting it in the first place. So opposite of Steve Johnson then, we do have star development Tyrone Thorne, who is 27 years old. He had 5 sacks last year, and that was his most since his rookie season. So probably not somebody we can just trust without trying to upgrade. We have to at least give it a try here. And then we also have Devontae Young. There are players with good ratings, some good developments, but pass rusher is one of those spots where sometimes the guys you think would produce just don't. But who's actually interested now? There are big names in free agency. Justin Tucker's kind of interested. He'd love to kick indoors at age 40, but I need pass rushers. Somebody who can help us out big time. I might be in here on Dominique Griffin. We have so much cap space and so little ways, I think, of using it that just getting deep at a position like corner could be a good idea. And then at running back, basically, we had Kerry Sims last year. He was under 4 yards a carry, and he's again one of the better running backs available. We already know he didn't really produce well with us. Maybe Larry Ward would be a better fit. Yeah, these guys who are 80 and under, they typically just don't produce, but I'm willing to try somebody else there. We've also had a little bit of injury issues with Vaughn Bennett, and I want to add a third receiver who could step in if need be, and I like the skill set here on Ben Johnston. Do we want to throw some money at a guy coming off a 6.5 sack season as his career high? He has increased his sack total every year. I feel like we got to do something here. Chad Freeman, he actually has interest in coming here. And this wouldn't be a huge contract. We have plenty of money to take some chances like this. So we've got 5 targets now here with offers. Dominique Griffin, Larry Ward, Ben Johnston, Chad Freeman. That's 4, actually. Well, I don't know why the active negotiation says 5, but I guess we have to run the eval there. And Ben Johnston signs, so a receiver. I really wanted the other guys. And Kwity Paye signed, and he was one of the other better edge rushers, so that hurts. Yeah, I think Dallas actually offered more money. They went up to $15 a year? Okay, so we lost that. So in this case, we already have a 77 overall running back. He's actually 75, I guess. But if he can get 3.6 yards a carry, he's as good as anybody else in this overall tier then. I know that wasn't like a lot of carries or anything, but I think we might just wait till the draft. We have a few more targets here who could help fill out the roster at a few different spots. So let's evaluate these. Ward still won't make a choice, but we did add Tyreek Stevenson, Doug Watford, and Spencer Lewis. Lewis should probably start at inside linebacker unless we get an intriguing rookie. And then Doug Watford will help fill out the defensive line a little bit. And he was only 25, so he can still get a little bit better. He's coming off of his rookie contract, and he'll just be kind of an average starter, I think. Stevenson's a good player to get, though. That gives us a solid 1 through 3 cornerback trio, and I like Stevenson a lot. But that might be all we really do here in free agency. I can throw like a 1-year deal at TJ Watt and watch him go somewhere else for like $4 million less than I offer. That's an option. Oh, that's almost exactly what happened. All right, let's take a look at this draft class then. I would be willing to take the right running back early in this class. Antoine Bruce, 6 foot, 228 pounds out of Washington. I like the 40 time on there. He's only got solid speed though, so it might be 90-ish. Has some good strength, acceleration. So not just like a power back with no real athleticism. He's got a lot to like here. The same is true here for Quentin Cannon. Actually, he's got more speed to work with, and he's also a big running back who has mostly the good power skills, like his catching range looks worse, so probably not a good receiving back, but that's fine. Another option is just to go with one of these solid round 1 tackles and really give us a strong offensive line from left to right. And Steve Johnson was so disappointing as a rookie, you have to consider just taking another edge rusher. If I can get some elite athleticism and some good A traits, I'll be back. Hardison, though, he goes at 11. I did like him. I'm open to trading up. We pick at 18. They have us taking a tackle. Oh, okay. So they're going to tell me here Antoine Bruce has top 5 talent, actually. If he were there at 18, I mean, I'd love to add a running back this year. Jaleel Vance, I only got to 95%, but I wanted to see if he'd be just a really solid, almost can't-miss player in that spot, and I'd be happy getting him too. Hardison, you probably have to move up a good bit to draft him, but I wanted to get a little bit more information. He's a pure finesse rusher, and that's really all he does. And if the mock draft can be trusted, I mean, Antoine Bruce is now mocked to us. That might just be the best choice. Wow, Hardison went even earlier now. He ended up going in the top 6. And then Jaleel Vance goes. So those are 2 of my private workout players. We're at 18. Getting past San Francisco. The Patriots go O-line. We're on the clock. This is the only way I can come back to the football game over here on the channel. This is what we're gonna do, okay? Antoine Bruce, welcome to New Orleans. Normal development, though. Like, another player. I took a player at 4 who had normal development. Now a player they're just gonna tell me has top 5 talent. I can't even get hidden development here. Sure hope the starting overall is high at least. He's top 5, so it should be, 76 to 79. And not even getting the benefit of hidden development. All right, we'll have to do this the hard way, I guess. The safety spot is also something I'd like to address here. And we're going to go with Earl Bowman now in the second round. He's a run support safety, but I do like the speed and the good agility combination. So I think he can be more than just a run stopper, C-zone coverage. He's our second round pick. We did end up signing a linebacker, but I found Nathan Logan here, who has elite level speed. He's a dynamic athlete, and B-man coverage with B-block shed. I feel like there's a starting linebacker here. We're going to take him in the third round with hidden development. So we got at least one in this draft. I really feel like it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a quarterback here late. We could use a backup, and Connor Hartzell here, he does have elite throw power to go with B short accuracy, A under pressure. Could he one day be playable if it doesn't work out with Eli rushing? Might be good to have a young option on the roster. This is going to be a little bit of a risky pick here, but it's the kind of pick you make in the fourth round. We have a good athlete here in Austin Rose who does one thing well, and that is rush with finesse. And we're going to add a pass rusher to this mix. And this pick is really just going to be for depth, but Jamarcus Parrish has C-man coverage and C-zone coverage, which doesn't sound like anything special, but over the past couple years in Madden, that alone is a difficult combination to come by. So we're going to take a hidden dev player, all right? That's how we do it. We're also going to be double dipping here at the running back position, and now we're going to take a receiving back in Rayshawn Boston. This will give us young running backs to play at both of those roles, and Boston comes in also with normal development. All right, that feels pretty good. We took an 80 overall running back. We got some pretty decent defensive players, 2 of which had hidden development. Grabbed a blocking tight end late and then traded away our 7th round pick for a future 6. But getting normal development here does sting. But if you can get high overall right away, 80 for Antoine Bruce, that's pretty good. And 80 was the best you were going to get on the open market anyway. So he's going to step into a role. He could even catch the football a little bit. I'm excited to see if we can have some early success. We need it. I wasn't sure what to expect here with Earl Bowman, but 73 overall in the second round feels really good. And he has good range, tackling ability. His zone coverage is solid, so I think that's a really good pick as well. And then to come back with Nathan Logan. Might have to find some playing time for him with this hidden development and the high upside. And then I'm not sure we're going to play Parrish a whole lot, just because we are pretty deep at corner. But this was a pretty lucky find for us late. Wow, we only drafted the 3rd highest rated player in this class. There were 2 cornerbacks at 84 and 83 overall. And then another one at 79 and 78. Okay, so this is why I'm not editing any of these settings. I guess I could, but this was started before I finished doing my XP slider set and just all the settings that go into how I want to set up franchise this year. I don't think draft class strength on corner needs to be at normal. I think it is the one position you drop down to weak. I'll do that for next year. I could just input all my XP slider stuff because it's what I like. I had just thrown something in here as a baseline, and ultimately it ended up not being anything close to what I ended up with. Back when the game came out, I put the majority of my early hours into really perfecting my preferred progression, regression, XP sliders. Let me just get them in the game. Ultimately, I really ended up blending together the XP sliders and the age progression and regression sliders. I wanted to create a franchise experience in everything I did where you'd see players develop the most during their rookie contracts so they can become superstars, earn big deals. And then as players approach their late 20s, they're really not improving anymore. They kind of are who they are. And I wanted to better simulate how the NFL really is a young man's game at so many positions. And then I also wanted to balance these positions out so they were to my liking and there weren't too many good players at one position or too few. But ultimately, I wanted an experience where the draft classes will guide your experience. If the draft classes are giving you really good quarterback prospects, then you're going to have a franchise full of good quarterbacks. It's not up to XP sliders to balance that out. So I wanted to see good prospects at every position. If they produced, they would earn the upgrades, they would earn their ratings, and they would earn them quickly if they did that at a young age and they produced in their early 20s. Regression, I have hitting hard at halfback and wide receiver. I think those are two of the more athleticism-driven positions, and players in their late 20s often peak and decline at those spots. Not everybody, but I think in general this creates good balance in your franchise, especially at the running back position. So when you get 2, 3, 4 years into your franchise, you're already seeing CPU teams replace their running backs, and you get a really good experience, I think, if you use this set. Put a lot of time into it. I've received some good feedback. So I'm going to keep it in there now for this little series here, and we'll see what it does. But I think we put together a promising class. Oh, and also, going through my testing I did on the draft classes, cornerback is the only one that I thought was optimal on weak. I tried some other ones like quarterback on weak. It is not better. Running back on strong I actually kind of liked, but it did create too many generational prospects. I think this is the optimal setup here. They just make cornerbacks too strong too often. Well, the rookie I drafted didn't have a very good preseason, throwing 2 interceptions and 0 touchdowns, completing 53% of his passes. The rookie running back, though, Antoine Bruce, a $148, 3 touchdowns. That is what we're talking about. We need day one impact, Antoine, and hopefully we have a complete offense now. Still worried, though, about this defense. I want to see Steve Johnson take a leap this season. I just don't know if it's going to happen. 74 overall, 2 career sacks. It's got to get better. Oh, that is not good. So Eli Rushing had suffered another injury in preseason. Fractured shoulder blade. He's missed some time throughout this series. He'll probably miss the first month or so of the season. All right, that's going to throw things off. When I had simulated forward, the game had signed Daniel Jones for us to be our quarterback. Daniel Jones. How'd he do in the preseason? Do we have any numbers? No, they just signed him, and I guess he didn't play. He hasn't played in a long time in this series. He's a scheme fit. We'll stick with Danny Dimes here, I think, the first few games while Eli Rushing heals. So, even more, we need Antoine Bruce to start this season strong. This is going to be an interesting season to go through now with this starting point. Like, typically we get to the trade deadline and we have an idea of who we are. I think the NFL trade deadline is a little bit too early in the season, but now we have to evaluate after 4 weeks of Daniel Jones starting. For sure, he's stepping into an offense that gives him playmakers, hopefully a running game, a good O-line, so I'm hopeful we can start this season fairly strong. I've also wanted to see Brian McGriff get a bit more playing time at tight end, but maybe I should just stick with Chigakonkwo. He is still a star dev and a scheme fit player, McGriff is 26 at 73 overall. I don't think he goes much further than that. And then on defense, we're desperate for pass rush, but I think the secondary's gotten better. I'm going to get Logan out there a decent bit. Like, we did spend money signing a linebacker, but I want to get Logan a chance to rack up some numbers here as a rookie. He should have that opportunity. So, let's get into year 3 with this 5-year rebuild. Well, getting annihilated in week 1 wasn't what I had in mind. 35-14, not close in really any of these departments. Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. We gave up a good game to Marcus Hardesty, their quarterback of the future. Bijan Robinson had 2 touchdowns. Antoine Bruce did have 74 yards and a healthy average, but no scores. And looks like Bennett and Olave did find the end zone. So did Bijan through the air. How many sacks we rack up? Not a single one. Little bit surprised we came back, though, in week 2 with a win. A lot of fourth quarter scoring in this game. Daniel Jones, 2 more touchdowns and a pick. And then Bruce, less efficient, only 58 yards. Run game not quite giving us the huge boost there, but we must have had some big pass plays. Brian Harris, 81 yards on 2 catches. He scores on a 75-yarder. Vaughn Bennett had 7 catches. And then on defense, 1 sack. Ooh, 1 of 2 on field goals, and this was a 1-point game. Must stink to not have Justin Tucker anymore. 4 games into the year, and we're 2-2. You know, going 500, replacing your quarterback suddenly is probably like a good expectation. We got rocked in 2 of these games, but managed to win a couple close ones. So the Commanders beat us 31-7 as we couldn't even reach 200 yards of offense. Daniel Jones, 92 yards, 2 interceptions in his last start. Eli Rushing's about to come back. That's our Daniel Jones parting gift. But hey, he helped us get to 2-2. And now the starter can take over. Rushing returns, and we lose. We struggled to rush the football in this game. Rushing throws a pair of touchdowns and a pair of interceptions. And a rookie had a big day against us. Jalen Hurts must have gotten injured. And the rookie came in and was 13-16 with 3 touchdowns with a perfect quarterback rating. So maybe what we're doing defensively isn't working that well. It was also our season high in sacks with 3. But still a bad performance overall. Oh, we don't rank well at anything. That's not good. We're 2-3, about to take on the 4-1 Atlanta Falcons. And this is our last game before the trade deadline. Like, we're not getting a lot of time to make decisions here. Bye week comes at an inopportune time, I'd say. And looks like now, we're down to our 3rd string running back. Antoine Bruce broke his tailbone, just like Andy McKenzie did back in game 1 almost 10 years ago in my Minnesota Dynasty. Shout out to those who have been here since those days, over on the main channel. This sucks. Coach, I haven't been as productive as I was hoping to be this year. I'm going to make him a promise. We don't have our running backs right now. Eli Rushing is back. I am here to steer the ship in the right direction, get morale back on track. We can get back to 500 this week. And we are signing Georgia running back Chuck Stroud to the roster. So the Falcons blew us out again. 188 yards of offense. I don't suppose every one of these yards went to Vaughn Bennett, correct? We keep injuring quarterbacks, and then the backups come in and destroy us. Kenny Pickett's the backup in this case. Last 2 weeks, 5 touchdowns, and 6 incompletions against backup quarterbacks? What are we doing here? Oh, did Vaughn Bennett? Oh, no donut, but 13 yards might as well be 0. What happened out there, coach? You tell me you're going to help me have a big game, and that's what happens? Thanks for nothing. Not so lucky number 13, Vaughn Bennett. As receivers tend to be. If they lose and they don't get the football, receivers are going to let you hear about it. Any special plans for the week off? There are no special plans at 2-4 in October. Team bonding retreat, man. I'm desperate. Let's all get together and get this team back ready for the rest of the season. By the way, we also have to try and get some contracts done this year, and I'm afraid to see if anyone's even interested, honestly. Chris Olave at 30 years old. Darren Gallery is not interested. Devontae Young is. Marquise Brayton is. So there are a couple players here we might be able to keep around, but the big names, Olave, Gallery. What's nice here is I picked up the 5th-year option on Eli Rushing, which means the tag is available for Olave. I don't have to trade him. And with Gallery, maybe we can figure something out. It's just not going to be today. I'm starting to think we might not be a very good team. I mean, Matt Canada couldn't get the Steelers over 400 yards, but I can't get the Saints over 200. That's the 3rd time this year. Eli Rushing, 3 INTs at the worst time, because there's never a good time. 11 yards rushing for Chuck Stroud. Things are falling apart, guys. But the pass rush, they actually got 4 sacks in this game. Oh, Julius Griffith is hurt now. Just great. We did it. We didn't win, but we got over 200 yards this time. And we only lost by 4. Our defense, they're clearly not good. All right, there's no mistaking here. If you were still wondering, the defense is not good. I'm not sure anything else is good. We aren't winning games, okay? But we do have a double breakout opportunity in Week 11. This is our Super Bowl, okay? We have a chance to upgrade Devontae Young. And we also have a chance to upgrade Doug Watford. So let's have a great day. What do you mean the top quarterback is a 3rd to 4th round talent? What do you mean we have UDFA talents? We're prepared, looking at quarterbacks, due diligence, trying to do the right things here. I'm a team builder. I don't know what our future is, so I'm scouting quarterbacks. It seemed to be a strong class. We're a 2-win team. We could enter full-on tank mode if there were someone worth tanking for. How is this the most overrated quarterback class I've ever seen? Why is it now? The timing is impeccable. So let's check the scouting card here on Antoine Reed. A medium, A short, B deep. And he's the 3rd to 4th round guy despite being really accurate. Because he can't throw under pressure on the run. Has no spin or juke creation ability. And what's the arm strength here? Good to great. All right. So he's still accurate. You ever see Tom Brady spin somebody out? I haven't, but I have seen Scott Tolzien do it. Channing Calhoun, Sam Vaughn. Let's check out Vaughn because he's the highest projected or talent grade. He's got a strong arm. He's a statue in the pocket with accuracy. But we're looking for somebody who's clearly let's move off of Eli Rushing and go in this direction. I need a clear upgrade, a clear direction. They ain't giving it to me. It's not even a good tight end class. I guess get info on these pass rushers that could go super early. Man, with luck like this, I might have to take another 6-month break from Madden or something. This better have come with a couple successes. We did hold them under 100 yards, so at least one player is getting a dev trait boost. This was our Super Bowl, and we hoisted that Lombardi. Sky high. Eli Rushing, 2 touchdowns. A great day against Brian Booth. He threw no touchdowns against us. Stephon Winston gave us his best Matt Asiata impression without the 3 touchdowns that he typically fell into. Chris Olave went over 100 yards. And then defensively, we're looking for TFLs and sacks. And Dante Norton had 2 combined. So we probably... Well, Devontae Young had 2. Watford had 2. Did we go 2 for 2? Roll out the red carpet, baby. So Doug Watford, star dev. Oh, 20,000 experience. And Devontae Young, up to superstar. See? We're developing. 8,000? 8,000? For star dev, you get 20. I guess, lower players need it more. That's our biggest win of the year. Doug Watford, we signed him 25 years old. This is why you go and make these moves. He's taking advantage of playing time, too, without Julius Griffith. At least there's something positive to come out of this season. And now, Devontae Young, I believe his contract is up, and I'm a lot more likely now to offer him one. 27 years old. 2 sacks on the season. But peaking. I'm willing to offer a sizable contract. Yes, 2 years, $25 million, I believe that ended up being. Devontae Young's coming back. Returning to Darren Gallery. I just don't want to go through the hassle of having to replace solid starting offensive linemen. That's one of my least favorite things to do. And now I don't have to. This is way too low of a demand, too, for Sal Solano. Unless he's like the 46th ranked player at his position, which, I didn't have my XP sliders in, so maybe he is. He's 29. Still starting caliber player. And this is a bargain for a starting caliber offensive lineman. Let's also throw a 1-year offer at Jonathan Camp. They don't like it when you knock down the years. All right, Earl Bowman, our rookie safety, is now injured, as we do get a rookie running back healthy again. 49 points. Who knew we were capable of this? Eli Rushing had a pair of touchdown passes. Daniel Jones also had one. So, I haven't done a lot of stuff in Madden 24 yet. Are quarterback injuries just significantly more likely? Because that's what I'm seeing today. Winston. That is the Matt Asiata stat line. Let's go. Pull it up. Show everybody what he did to the Eagles in 2014 in a game Nick Foles started when he had his ridiculous interceptionless streak. Matt Asiata went on to get 3 touchdowns in multiple games later on. Actually, on second thought, that might be 2013, definitely, because that was pre-Teddy, which was 2014. This was a Matt Castle game. That was 2013. Steve Johnson gets the upgrade. What's he been up to this year? Nothing. Really happy we could take Vernon Golston in the first round in that previous draft. Although even Steve Johnson has 2 more career sacks. 3 straight victories. And in this game, we welcome back Antoine Bruce. He goes over 100 yards. Vaughn Bennett had himself a solid day. Ben Johnston as well. We got 3 straight wins. We're 5-7. If we can't draft a game-changing quarterback, there's no point in losing. I think at this stage of the rebuild, too, as the clock is ticking, we just have to quarterback-proof the team. Make everything else so good the quarterback can't fail. That's part of why we took Antoine Bruce, and I'm really hoping he can get this breakout. You draft a normal dev player in the first round immediately, you're like, this sucks, man. Well, it doesn't have to. We also ran through the trench boost scenario for that previous game, and this is one of the more valuable scenarios to have go your way. 10,000 experience for the entire O-line? That's a lot of experience. So he missed much of his rookie year, but that doesn't mean Antoine Bruce can't make a late push for Rookie of the Year and become a star development player. And if we can convert this and then win Rookie of the Year, superstar. We beat the Bucks, and we picked up a lot of rushing yards in this game. 233 passing yards for Eli rushing. And Antoine Bruce, a $178, including a 75-yarder. Massive, massive stuff. A rookie running back having success in my return to football content. Man, I am right at home again. If y'all are enjoying this, please leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't. It's good to be here again. Still going to have a lot of baseball content, but football and baseball are those are my two sports. Are we officially at the end of that, like, in the hunt graphic they'll show on Fox? Like, we're 6-7 now. There are only 6 teams with a better record. You bet we're in the hunt. But it's a little competitive. How about that game from Antoine Bolden? I've always thought of him as a serviceable backup. That's a typical offensive coordinator thing to say. You know, the rookie, I thought he was a good backup. Got to bring these rookies along slowly. Don't think so. It's actually amazing how many coaches seem almost oblivious to the fact that their young players are as good as they can be. Like, they only think that, like, the veteran players can be good. Some teams are just notorious for not playing rookies. So that helps Bruce make up for some lost time. If he stays healthy and finishes the year with over 1,000 yards and maybe gets to like 8 touchdowns, that's respectable. If there's a quarterback who can top him, then, you know, oh well. Quarterbacks usually have the leg up when it comes to Rookie of the Year. And there were some quarterbacks taken early this season. He has some work to do. Quentin Can and Dante Easley are ahead of him. I am shocked that we just keep winning. 30-0. Let the Browns score 13 in garbage time. Walk out of there with a win. Wow. Bruce didn't have a great day or anything, but we still win and win convincingly. Is this defense finally turning the corner? Devontae Young, 1.5 sacks. Doug Watford gets a sack as well. These are the things you need when you whiff on your number 4 overall selection. I can't believe that there we are. We have fixed this season. It's not over, but we're a playoff team if it ended here. Oh God, we have 2 injuries. Let's check this out. Oh boy. Brayton, Young, Earl Bowman. 3 defensive starters. I think we're going to need Steve to step up now. So that's a lot of injuries to overcome as you go to take on a 13-1 Bengals team that is number 7 in points scored. And we lose by 7. Looks like this was a close, competitive, back-and-forth game. Just took us a while to find our footing this season. We fall to 7-8. How'd the defense do in this one? They only racked up a single sack. Couldn't intercept Joe Burrow. Maybe if we win out, we still have a decent chance. There's enough mediocrity in this conference, I think. Had to beat the Bears, and it took overtime. 34-28, and a 4-touchdown game for Eli rushing. Only getting better as the season moves on. Antoine Bruce for 95 yards. Good day for Von Bennett. Chris Olave scored a touchdown. So the defense can't do it all right now. Not when they're not at full strength. But hey, looks like Griffith came back. Steve Johnson, he didn't sack anybody, but he did get a TFL on a running back, it looks like. If the season ended today, though, we're a playoff team. Which means we win, we should be in. I cannot believe that is the case. It's 4-12 Tampa standing in our way, and that's not a free victory because last year we had the 3-win Bears in Week 18. We didn't win that one. Simulating the wild card weekend, everybody. What's it gonna be? The Saints got a game. 9-8 and 2 more injuries. Please, no. We made it to the playoffs. This is This is wild. I can't believe it. We had a 6-game losing streak and we're 2-7. We just can't have a normal year. Super streaky team positively and negatively. Bruce goes over 100 yards. We need him to have a chance. We got to have our playmakers at full strength. We'll have to see who's hurt, if those are at key spots. And it's Stephon Winston along with Devin Turner. We're missing 2 of our top 3 corners, backup running back, one of our better edge rushers, and a starting safety. As we have made it back to take on the Atlanta Falcons, they're missing 1 player, Carlos Brackett, a starting edge rusher. They blew us out twice this season. And the Falcons back on my main channel also scored some big wins. So I'm getting tired of seeing this team get the better of me. 13-4, number 2 seed it looks like in the conference. And also our very first playoff game in this rebuild. So a milestone crossed off. We made it. Guarantee we win this game, because we're too hot to lose. So when I do these types of series, when we get to the postseason, typically I like to simulate through a little bit slower, and if there's a really critical drive late in the game, then we watch it play out. We finally have a chance. It's been longer than anticipated because I took such a long break from even doing this Madden content. Man, it feels good to be back, and what a way to return. We are late first quarter right now, and the Falcons have already scored a touchdown, and they're driving again. Down inside the 5 and finished off by Adrian Chapman. It's not a good start. Incomplete, penalty, dump off, 3 and out. Big play, Antoine Bruce. Who else is it going to be? He's becoming perhaps the new face of this offense. Olave for 18. The penalties could end, anytime, please. We went for it on 4th down with Chuck Stroud. Got what we deserved. 21-0 Falcons. Oh, we're desperate here. It's the second half. Touchdown, Antoine Bruce. All right, 14-point game. The defense needs to make plays, and it's so hard to be down 2 corners and have to slow these guys down with how good they've become. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan in the backfield. Watford with the sack. And they're going to, looks like, stall out and add 3. Now or never for the offense. Sacked on 4th down. The Falcons looking to make it 3 blowouts and an advance to the divisional round. Atlanta wins the game, and our season comes to an end. But we actually picked up a good deal of success this year after our 2-7 start. We were 3 for 3 on breakout chances. I think this will be a lot better for having a chance to maybe re-sign some players. It certainly couldn't hurt. But it does sting to have it end here against the Falcons. Eli rushing did put up a lot of yards, but the offense was still very disjointed, and we didn't have the balance. Couldn't run the ball well with Antoine Bruce, and Bijan had himself a very big day. These are the kinds of numbers that you expect from him at Texas, not in the NFL. Well, I thought we were going to go like 4-13, so this turned out to be a lot more exciting, and going through the season ended up being a lot of fun in the second half. Bruce came in second for Rookie of the Year behind Dante Easley. Maybe if he doesn't get hurt, he has a better chance. But he still got to star development, and that pick's turning into a success quickly. So Eli rushing had 23 touchdowns to go with 9 interceptions. I'd say if we took out like the first 4 starts or so of him coming back, like the numbers look even better. He was playing really well down the stretch after these multi-interception games early on. Antoine Bruce came up a little bit short of 1,000 yards, but I'm really happy to have a running back actually go over 4 yards a carry here in the simming, especially as a rookie. So that to me Huge success. At receiver, Olave just crossed 100. Vaughn Bennett just missed. And then Ben Johnston went for 709. Chigakonkwo, 502 yards. On the defensive end, we had Callum Swanson lead us in tackles, also pick up 3.5 sacks. It was Devontae Young leading us with 4.5. Obviously, injuries skew these numbers as well, but there seemed to be more potential here as a team. Although Julius Griffith, only a half sack. He played long enough to get to the quarterback a couple times. So that is very disappointing. He played almost 600 downs. Not many interceptions, but Jonathan Camp had 2 of them. So I think, despite the tough start, it's a young team that's developing, and I like our chances to go into year 4 and 5 and maybe have a chance to win a Super Bowl before this is done. There's still a lot to work on with this team. We didn't really rank well in any of the major categories. That's not surprising, the way the first 9 games went. Here are the developments. Doesn't seem like anything changed across the offensive front. And then on defense, Griffith has superstar, and then we have a fair amount of star dev players. And Jonathan Camp earned himself star dev. Had a couple interceptions, and that's another success story from this year. We had a few. If you had fun with that, please leave a like on the video and subscribe, and we'll get back to this here again to continue our journey with the New Orleans Saints. We have 2 more years before I leave this team, and we'll see if we can hit our goal of winning a Super Bowl. But leave your feedback down below. What'd you think of the video? And do you think we can actually achieve our goals in this one? Have a great day. I'll see y'all next time.